Okay, welcome again. This is chapter 1 on computation and numbers, section 2, lesson 2, where we are dealing with fractions and decimals. Right now, we did fractions, we did decimals. Now we are going to link them together, right? So to change a fraction into a decimal, you do long division, right? So we have this an example 2 to change 3/8 to a decimal, 3/8 to a decimal. So remember that the vinculum in the fraction, the line in the fraction means to divide. So 3/8 means 3 divided by 8. So let's perform that calculation. 3 divided by 8. And we're going to do it using long division. So 8 will be outside, and we are dividing 3. Now that definitely cannot. So what we do? That cannot. We put a 0. And we add a 0 here. Now because we have to add a 0 to make it longer, we put a point, right? Right? We add a 0, so we put a point because we just made this question a little different. So that means it's a fraction. So we put a point here. 8 divided by 30, well, 8 threes are 24, right? 8 fours are 32, so it will be 3. So 3 by 8. And if you can remember your long division, you have to divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. And we are just going to be bringing down imaginary zeros, right? So let's go. This is 3. 3 by 8 is 24. Right? So I just put in the process here, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. 24. So we are on subtracting now. 30 minus 24 is 6. So the next thing we do is bring down. We bring down an imaginary 0. So we start again. Divide. 60 divided by 8, that's 7. 7 it's a 56. So we multiply. Now we subtract. 60 minus 56 is 4. And now we bring down. So we bring down until we don't have anything remaining here, right? So now we start again. Divide. 40 divided by 8, that's 5. Multiply. 5 by 8, that's 40. Subtract. 40 minus 40 is nothing. And because we have nothing, we don't bring down anything because that's the end of the question. So in other words, 3 divided by 8 is 0.375, right? So that is how we can change a fraction into a decimal. So points to note, you add a 0 and put in a point and keep bringing down imaginary zeros as you continue to work out the decimal, right? So remember, we have to keep bringing down. So we keep bringing down imaginary zeros as we adding zeros, right? Now, to do the opposite, you change in a decimal to a fraction. You put the decimal as the numerator and 1 with zeros equal to the number of digits in the numerator after the decimal place, right? 1. Okay, so let's see what that means. Equal to the number of digits in the decimal. That's what that should be written there. So you have the decimal is 0.85. How many decimal places do you have? You have 2 decimal places. So to change this, you put 85, the digit, 85 over 1 with 2 zeros because there are 2 digits in the decimal. There are 2 decimal places in the decimal, right? And when we reduce that, because 85 can be divided by 5, 100 can be divided by 5, we get 17 over 20. So 0.85 is 17 over 20, right? So let me say this again. You put the fraction, whatever digits you have in the fraction, in the numerator, and then you put 1 with the number of digits that you have in the numerator or in the decimal fraction. The number of zeros will be equal to the number of digits you have after your decimal point, right? So you have 1, 2 digits after the decimal point, so you put 2 zeros. So it will be 85 over 100, which is 17 over 20, right? So that's how you change a decimal into a fraction. Now there's also the recurrent decimals. So if you calculate a third, so that will be 1 divided by 3, you'll have to keep adding zeros and never stop. You will never get a remainder of 0. You'll never, ever, ever stop. And you just keep getting 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 forever, right? This is called a recurrent decimal, meaning that the decimal, that 3, happens over and over. They are also like combinations that could happen over and over. Like you have 1, 6, 1, 6, 1, 6, 1, 6. So 1, 6 can recur as well, right? So once you have a pattern of a particular number or combination of numbers that keeps happening over and over, never ending, that's called a recurrent decimal. So you can write it as 0.333 with a little dot over it, and the dot means recurrent. Also, if you have that recurrent decimal, let's say 0.27 recurring, so the 2 and the 7 would be recurring, you can put a little dash over it. So that means the 2 and the 7 recur. So this means that this is 0.272727, etc., over and over. So you put a dash over the 2 and the 7 to show that both numbers are recurring, right? So that is how to change a decimal into a fraction and a fraction into a decimal.